Hey all, Lawrence from Express Unity, and today I'm going to continue the C# 2D game engine that I ended up working on stream. I don't quite have enough time to actually do a stream on it, but just before I left on that stream, I said that we were going to work on some physics for it. So I'm just going to make a quick video. By quick, it's probably gonna be almost an hour long, maybe. But yeah, I'm just gonna make a quick video on implementing some physics, and we're going to do this with Box 2D. Now, this is kind of a wrapper for the actual Box 2D, as Box 2D is a C++ library. So you can come in here and read all the C++ documentation. It's actually very well documented. But what we're going to do for our needs, so go to this GitHub, I will put it in a description, and come here to the fork from Google, and then you just want to download this top one, October 16, 2008, and once you download it, you should have this zip file here. And in here we have some things that we want to use. Now, we don't really care about all these OpenGL and FreeGLUT and all that. We only care about the Box 2D DLL. So you're going to want to open wherever your main engine is, and then just drag that DLL there. Now, what you want to do is go back into the game engine and just drag that inside of there. Nope, that's not what we want to do. Where is it? We want to drag it on the main bit here, I believe. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we don't actually want that. Alrighty, so now what we want to do is click on the DLL, and where it says copy to output directory, we want to set this to copy if newer. Basically, what this will do is whenever you build the game, it will also extract this DLL alongside it, as we will be needing it. Now, what we want to do is add a reference, and we're going to browse, and that is another game engine I've been working on, but we want to go here. And we just want to get this DLL and click OK. And it's got an error. Let's see what it is telling us. There was a mismatch between the processor architecture of the project being built. Box 2D. Mismatch. What does it want? I don't think this will be a problem, but just in case, I forget where to change it. New, and let's try 64 with any CPU. Okay. Alright, so and let's just why can't I add another one? Okay, here we go. And we'll go new again, and a new CPU. Okay. Wait, did it? Yeah, okay. There we go. Okay, so that fixed that. Now, what I'm going to do is just go into the examples folder here, and hello world, and the program.cs, and we're basically going to be copying this example, and we will be kind of putting it in the places that our game engine will need. So the first thing we want to be doing is using all of Box 2D's references here. So let's just, and just to make sure Box 2D is implemented, let's just box 2D dot, yeah, it looks like it's all there. So let's do that. Okay, let's not do that. Box 2D dot collision. Looks like we either have an older version or a newer version, but that shouldn't really matter. It should more or less be the same. Box 2D dot dynamics. Alright, great. So the first thing they do is specify a world size. Now you can read the documentation on what this does, but basically this is the simulation space. So we're going to just copy this, and at the top of our, oh wait, sorry, I've put this on our sprite 2D, which is not what we want. We actually want to do this inside of our main game engine. So let's copy those in there. And now let's copy this world space code here, and box 2D uses its own color, so we're gonna have to change all this as well. So system.drawing and system.drawing. There's one more error, probably caused by drawing. Yes, it is over here. So let's qualify system.drawing. Okay, so that should fix all that. And now just below all of this, let's now define our world space. And now we have some issues with it conflicting with our own vector format. So let's say cannot explicitly convert. Wait. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Well, if that worked, it worked. Yeah. So the issue is, did it just remove something or no? It should have added like box2d.vector2 or something like that. So it's a bit odd. But anyway. Yeah, so let's now add our gravity, or just define it here. Is this going to give us the same error? No. Okay, that's a little bit odd. Oh, wait, did it change our vector file? No. Okay. Oh, wait. Interesting. Ah, okay. It did. That's interesting. Okay, well, in that case, let's implement this with our own vector2, because I wasn't going to do this. I was just going to use box2d's own vector. But what we're just going to do is basically do this here. So we have v.x and then v.y. And I don't think we want this to be a static, do we? It's kind of weird the way it's done this. User-defined operator must be declared static and public. Yeah, this. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we won't worry about this, but instead we will say yeah, let's not worry about adding this. We'll just do it the way I was originally going to do it. So back in our engine now, where this gives us an error, we actually just want to say new vector2, and actually what was the default values here? 100, 100, okay, yeah. So new vector2, 100, 100, and then this is going to be new vector2, negative 100 and negative 100, like that. Now, safe to say that this gravity is going to need to be box2d's vector2. So let's just change that as well. Alright, so now I don't really care about if the physics is sleeping or not. so I'm going to ignore that. But now let's copy our world, and this is where we actually start creating the physical world space. And so this needs to be inside of our main. Basically, before we run the window, we do this in here. And do sleep. We'll just quickly read what this does, and it doesn't show anything. So I'm just going to set it to false, because I believe what this does is if there's no physics moving, it just kind of freezes the physics. So we've implemented that. And now this stuff here is stuff that we're going to want to add on our actual sprites. So for now, we're going to skip over this. Just quickly have a read, define the ground body, call the body factory, define the ground box. Okay. So this is the bit that we would create for our sprite, and then this is for any like a solid object or something like that. So we will skip that and go straight down to the code to actually run our physics step. So just above our game loop here. Oops. Wait, is it the game loop or renderer that we want? I think we might do it in the renderer. So yeah, just paste these in there. And because we're already iterating with our game loop, we don't really need to have this here. So we should be able to just copy the world step. And I can't remember if we do it before or after our rendering. I believe we do it before, so just up here we'll put that down. And world does not exist. So over here, well, we are going to set it when the game engine first gets called. We actually do want it to be a global, and by default we're going to set it to null, which should be, yep. Okay, so now this should be fine. And yeah, and then this, it's all good. Okay, so if we save this and just run what we have, it's not going to do anything, but it should now have a physical world space that we can use. Is that just that weird error we were getting on stream? So if I run this again, will it work? No. Okay, maybe I've changed something. In the demo game, which should be where all our sprites are loaded. Let me just see what I've done here. Oh, right. Okay, so because we changed it, changed the kind of the build for the CPU, it's being compiled in a different directory, and we don't actually have our sprites in there. And you can also see it's compiled a DLL, so that's good. So let's just copy our assets folder here and put that in the new directory. Alright, so that should be good. Great, so nothing's really changed here, same old, but now we actually have a physical space that we can do physics in. So we will need to change a little bit here. Just quickly run through here. I think all this is fine now. So in our sprite 2D, we're now going to want to use our position and scale and all that, and just set up a let's see here. So this is defining a ground body, so this is going to be like a static object. So what we can do here, just trying to remember how we can do this. So we'll start off with the dynamic body, because I think that'll be the easiest. So we have a body, new def. Body.position. And then polygon density, create fixture, and set mass from shape. And then body.get position. Okay. I believe we need to set the world space somewhere. Otherwise the body can't actually register itself. Am I missing that? I have to be missing it somewhere. Here, world.createBody. Okay. So how can we do this now? So I think the world space for our game engine will need... Oh, maybe it won't work now then. Maybe it will. I don't think it will. Public static. Is that gonna work? It does. Okay. So what we want to do inside of creating a sprite, I think we might make a new public method here. So we'll say public method. Oh, public method, no. I've been doing too much Python and it's just wording is different in my head right now. Public void, and we'll say create dynamic, right? And to create a dynamic object, we are going to copy and paste all of this, and we're going to piece it together bit by bit here. And we're going to also want to include all of our box2D references inside of our sprite class. That should fix some things. And then of course we need to change vector2 to vec2. And world will be expressed engine.world. And create fixture. It's not. Let's see. Dot create. Okay, that's. I think we are using an older version, but that's fine. That's fine. No problem. Okay, so we are now basically setting up an object and registering it with the world. However, we want a few things to be public here. And so the body definition, I believe we want to be kind of up here so we can reuse it. And then we want the body to be up there as well so we can reference it. Okay. Now we're creating, and what we want to do is instead of passing in a new vector, we want to pass in this dot position dot x and this dot position dot y. And what we can do, so we should only need to run this once, so this would be something we call on the start of our game engine, but then this next line is going to have to be called in our update. So then we'd say public void get new position. Actually no, let's just say update position. This isn't going to need anything, but what we can say now is this dot position dot y is equal to is it body dot position? What do we set here? Body def. Okay, so body def dot position dot x, and then this dot position dot y equals body def dot position dot y. Okay, so I believe that's all we need to do to start creating this physical object. So let's give that a try. And so, back in our demo game, we're going to actually want to so where do we spawn our player? Here. Okay. It's been a while since I've opened this, so we should be able to say player dot what did I call it? Create dynamic. That'll basically convert our sprite 2D into a physical object. And where we update position, for now we don't want to do this because we want the physics to take control. So what we're gonna say is we're also going to just comment this out. So then we'll just say something like player dot update position. Alright, so I'm hoping, and you know what we might do, just make certain this world space is large enough, we're just gonna make it very big. And this isn't really going to affect performance for small things like this, but at some point I would recommend that you just have this world space as big as the screen. Just note though, I've had some issues where if any physical object falls out of this world space, it will error and crash the program. So that there is some error handling involved. So let's just hope something. Okay. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Shape there. Body def equals new body. This is a let's just go back to this example here. Let me see. Body def equals new def. Yes. We might just set it again before all of this, just in case. And we'll see what that does. Really? Object reference was set. Body was null. Body was null. We might be... Okay, so let's see here. So demo game. And I think what might be happening is... So on load we create the dynamic. When is on load called? It wouldn't matter because we set this at the very beginning, so regardless. Oh, actually, hold on. Where is it? Am I blind? Unload. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Yeah, that should be working. So, body equals create. Oh wait, am I? Ah, okay, I didn't do this. So we want body equals. There we go. That's what we needed. We shouldn't get an error now. And our player does not update. That's not what we want to see. But we're not getting errors. So we create the dynamic object. We then set it when the player spawns, create dynamic. So the player should not be null, and we just update position. What we might do here is, let's just say log dot warning, and we'll just pass in body def dot position dot toString, and we'll see if body position is actually updating and it's just our own position code that's been funky. Let me see. Oh my goodness, no. Okay, dot x. Okay, we're so very close to implementing it. It's just the last few little hiccups here. Just trying to figure out what everything is doing. Okay, so it's not actually moving. Okay, yeah. It's not moving, so that makes me think that potentially... Let's just have a quick look at this demo. So define the dynamic body, we set its position and call the body factory. Define shape, and we create a fixture. In our case, it's create shape. We set the mass down here. What do we do? Body dot get position. Body dot get angle. Right now we don't really have any rotation in our engine, so we're gonna ignore get angle, but this should be working. Unless, hold on here. So it's not. It's body dot get position dot x and body dot get position dot y, and we are just going to do that in our debug up here. Fantastic. Let's see what that gives us. Hey, there we go. It is, we're falling upwards, but we have physics. And you can see here, it didn't actually crash. It usually crashes. But yeah, we've now exited our physical space and it's stopped working. So this just makes me think that in our gravity setting that we had up here, our own world space that we created the game in might actually be flipped the wrong way. So let's just make that a positive 10 for gravity, and we should now fall down. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. We are getting some physics into the game. Now, my only problem being is, since we don't have rotation, do we? No, we don't. Alright, well, for now we'll ignore that. So, we'll do the same thing now, but we're going to copy the this here. Wait. Okay, it's only this line here. And instead of create dynamic, we're gonna say void create collider. Actually, that doesn't quite make sense. We'll say create static. We'll put that in there. And ground body is just going to be our body. This is going to be expressed engine.world.create body. This is going to be body def. All this is fine, except this is going to be body.create fixture. In our case, we either have an updated version or a old version, I'm not too sure, but create shape. Okay, and heck, I think that's it. So, for everything that's not our player now, at the end here we can just say dot create. Do we make it a public? No, we did not. So make sure we make this a public. And we can just say, in our demo here, dot create static and dot create static. And that is it. We should now actually have collision. No, we don't. So what's going on here? Assertion failed. Abort, quit, retry, ignore. Doesn't really give me much of a helping hand here. Oh wait, let's ignore that. Do we set the position anywhere? Set box. Okay, so let's just give it the same shape as this. This is also gonna have to be our scale at some point, but for now let's just do this. And this will need to be that. Hold on a second. So we have shape def. Did I miss a bit here? Yes, I did miss a bit. Alright, so let's do all this again. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that's a little bit too short. So, body def. This should just be... Wait. Yeah, body def. So, body def. And, should be able to just say... body def.position. And this will be the new vector 2 using box 2D, and we're just going to say this.position.x and this.position.y, and body will just be body, and this will be expressed engine.world, and we want our body def ground. That's all good, that's all good. The only thing is set box, we'll just do that. And this, I'll actually just copy the name here, keep everything the same. Okay, that should be good, and now we should be able to just say body.create fixture, and this is going, wait, is it body.create fixture? Yeah, and then we just want to pass in the shape definition. And it's not create fixture, it's create shape. Alright. So now that we actually set the position, it shouldn't be out of bounds, I hope, and we should now. Hey, it works. Okay. So the collision for our... I don't think this will work because we're going to have to do some sort of math to scale our scale correctly, because I'm not quite sure what box 2D uses for its units, but we'll just try scale first and see what happens. Okay, yeah, you can see it's way too large. So we might just give it a fixed scale for now, something smallish. Maybe a little bit larger. We'll go 20 and 20. Okay, it still needs to be larger. That, or we can just scale our player bounding box. We'll try 15 by 15. Alright, but that's better than nothing. Now, we should actually be able to apply physics to this. I can't quite remember how. It might be body.add apply force. There it is, yeah. So now we have all these things that are similar to Unity that we can use. So, just to try this out, we can just create a new public void, and we can just say add force. We're going to want a vector 2 because we want to keep everything in our actual game consistent. We don't want to use vector 2 from box2d and vector 2 from our own game. So we're going to keep everything consistent, but then just convert it in this function here. So this is going to be our force, and this next one I believe is our direction. So what we can say is body dot apply force. Yeah, so we can say new vec2 force dot x and force dot y, and the next one is a point, which I believe is the direction. So we'll just say vec2 new vec2 rather, and this will be our direction.x and direction.y, and that looks good. So let's go ahead in our demo game, instead of moving our player with just setting our position, and also this this code here can now be treated as like a trigger inside of Unity, so we don't actually need this because this just detects if we're on a block or not. So we can actually remove that entire collision code now. And we still want to keep it for things like coins, but we should now be able to say player.add force, and we want to go vector 2 dot new vector 2, and we want to say 0 and -1, and then a direction, I think, or point. It said point, didn't it? Let me just quickly see. Point. So, okay. So force can be the direction, and point is where the force is being applied from. So in our case, so let's actually just call this point. Makes more sense. Post point. Point. And point. Great. So back in our demo game, this is our direction, and our point is just going to be we can actually just say vector 2.0 here, and that should be fine, like this. Okay, so then going down should be +1, left on the x should be -1, and then you should just do the opposite, which is positive, and I think that's it. We should, if I press W, oh, is it arrow keys? No, okay. Might be too low. Let's go for like a 55, just to make absolutely sure this is working. I'll actually move the window to the side a bit so we can see this. No, it's not working. What could the problem be? That update position. Could it be that we need to update the position after we apply force? Maybe. Let's try that. No, that doesn't make sense. Doesn't... I forget what the order is. It is... Let's just try changing the point here as well. We'll see what happens. Very odd. Very odd indeed. Unless I'm using the wrong thing to add force, because this is apply force, dot, is there a velocity? It might be velocity that I'm thinking of. Let's see, so we have apply force, which I believe is the right one that we should be using. Is bullet set bullet. That's interesting. What does this do? I feel like is bullet is familiar. I'm not sure why. But let's see what happens if we set is bullet. No, I don't know why is bullet sounded familiar. Okay, so velocity. We want to set the linear velocity, and this only requires a vector 2. So let's try that out. And we can ignore the point for now. Oh. Okay. So we are setting our velocity now. So that does work. Which makes me wonder that we might not have been adding enough force before. And all these stars and things, they actually have their own collision, which we don't want. So, back in our demo game here, and for coin, we don't actually want to create a static object for that. We just want it to be a normal sprite, and we're just going to handle collision with triggers. So now we should be able to still collect them. Yeah. And, okay. You can see that the collision needs to be, you know, properly configured. I'm just thinking, because I can't quite remember. Alright, let's try it again. At this point, it's all implemented, right? So you guys could go and mess around with this yourselves. So that's just what I'm gonna do at the moment. Kind of mess around with this. And kind of, because apply force should be the one we want. I'm just gonna set these values to some very extreme number to see if it is our gravity setting that's just too heavy. So we'll try that. Oh, here we go. Oh. It's doing some funky stuff. Update position. So this shouldn't work at all. Yeah. So pasting it down here gave us the error. No. What broke before then? Okay, well, there. I think we just had it in the wrong... And now that our actual world space is flipped around the other way, so this is actually going to be positive, and this negative. And this here, we should be able to just make it vector 2.0. And now, instead of this game being top down, we can make it a platformer. So we're just gonna say something like this. Okay, and I forgot what I had for empty spaces. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so we just put our period for the empty spaces here. Fantastic. Now we will copy this. Don't do that. Just a couple of times. Why are you not aligning properly? Okay, and we have G for our ground, so let's just replace that. Okay, and we will kind of just make a step up here with the last part being a coin. And we can't figure out player, we'll just put him up here and we'll see. Oh, there are builders. Cannot convert method vector 2. What? From where? Oh, forgot our brackets. Okay. It works. It's just one of those things you're gonna have to kind of mess around with the physics yourself with. Why does this still opposite? Still doing some weird stuff here. Hold on, let me say something. This is on update. I think I might know why it's acting up. So on update, we call it on render. So I think that's our issue. We want to call this above update. And I think our stepping might be a lot smoother now. Yeah, there we go. Feels so much better. So velocity iterations, we can just bump this up. Position iterations, I might just bump this up as well, because that'll just smooth it out. Yeah, there we go. Feeling a lot better. And so at this point it's implemented, right? So so we have one for add force. Let's now do add velocity, or rather set velocity, and we are just going to remove point. We're going to set this to val, and then we'll say body dot set linear velocity, and we're going to say new vec2 val.x and val.y. Okay, and so now we go to demo game here, and let's just comment all this out and now just change everything using a velocity. So say player dot set velocity, and then we just want this here, and we'll do the same for the rest. So now you have two main physics methods that you can use. This is going to be negative, this 0, this, and actually it being 1000 is going to be way too high now, so I might actually set this to 5. And then this one will be 5 as well. Okay. Okay, and we're getting the same thing where this is should be a positive. I might change it to 15 so it's faster. Did I just make that the wrong way around? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay. This is the final iteration. You guys can have a play with it. So you will need to do some maths so you can, you know, actually jump and all that. But we now have physics, which is fantastic. Maybe we'll implement one more. So what else do we have? That's shape, we want sprite. You can also do the same thing for shapes as well, but we're not going to do that because I'm probably going to remove the shape 2D. So just checking, what else do we have that we can set? I still don't know what said bullet is. It has a flag apparently. We didn't set that before, did we? So true. So let me just quickly see if that affected anything. All part of the programming process, experimentation. See what works and see what doesn't work. Okay. Things are the opposite way. I don't get why physics is when applying force is the opposite, but instead setting the no. Okay, it's doing the same thing now. That's very interesting. I just feel like add force isn't acting the way it's been acting when I've used it in the past. Let's try setting the point to the exact same thing as what the force is. So I'm losing track of what I'm saying here. Alright, so what that does. Okay. Yeah. Still a little bit funky. But I mean, it's all there. It's all just experiment around and see what works best. Right now, setting the velocity seems to be the best thing. There's not really anything else that we can really set here. You got local position, center, and change the angles. Maybe apply impulse. That might be what I'm thinking of. Let's try that. Okay. We'll just undo everything so it's back to 0. We'll see if impulse is the one I'm thinking of. Oh, yeah, I think impulse is the one I'm thinking of. So this might actually just have to be a lower value again. Fantastic. Yeah, I think it was impulse. This is, yeah. This is actually doing what I want it to do. Instead, collision is still awkward and bouncy and whatnot. That is just something you're gonna have to mess around with your own scaling. So where these boxes are and stuff. So yeah, you could do scale x. I don't know, divided by some number. You're gonna have to research exactly what the units of measurement they use, because at the moment we built the game engine without really thinking about any of that stuff, right? So we don't actually have a proper unit of measurement. Oh, divided by 2. That's not too bad. And what you can do, right, to jump is when we press that's the wrong script. When we press the up key, instead of adding force, we set velocity to something I don't know, high. So walking along, tap the jump key. Okay, that's too high. Walking along, tap the jump key, and yeah, kind of a little bit messy, but that's it there. Physics implemented, happy with that. Pretty simple implementation. I think Box 2D is pretty outdated, at least not the normal Box 2D, because this seems like it gets updated pretty regularly, but the actual wrapper for C# seems like it's, I mean, if you look at it, it hasn't been updated for years, 4 years, and then 2 years. So yeah, it's kind of an old one. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It should get you guys going in kind of implementing some sort of physics into the game. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. It is another long one, but most of it was just me ranting and figuring out stuff. But yeah, it's mostly copy and paste if you just look at that example. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you need any help, go ahead, join our Discord server, and I'd be happy to help along with a few others. Subscribe, like if you want to see more, comment down below what you reckon and what you want to see next. To be honest, I don't think I will be continuing the game engine using the GDI stuff, and we may switch over to something like OpenGL, which is very complicated in regards to what we've done here, right? Because what we do here is very basic stuff with the Windows API. Like we just do like g.drawImage or g.fillRectangle. Yeah, we don't have that stuff in OpenGL. We actually need to create all our vertices and triangles and stuff, even for a 2D game. So there's a lot more code involved. But yeah, that's something I'll consider if I get enough people wanting a tutorial on OpenGL or some sort of other drawing library. It doesn't have to be OpenGL. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.